The baseline objective of any supply chain is straightforward: deliver the right product to the customer exactly when they need it and do it profitably. But in practice, operations often degrade into isolated silos. Departments stop working as a cohesive unit and start optimizing exclusively for themselves. Sales, procurement, and manufacturing frequently operate with different and often directly conflicting definitions of success. Consider procurement. To hit their specific key performance indicator, minimizing unit cost, they might purchase raw materials in bulk. That decision lowers the purchase price, but the downstream effects are immediate. Manufacturing gets bottlenecked by the sudden influx, inventory holding costs explode, and logistics is eventually forced to spend heavily on expedited shipping just to maintain baseline service levels. When individual departments pursue localized metrics without a shared operational framework, the result is a systemic failure of the overarching supply chain. Resolving this deep-seated misalignment requires a structural blueprint, moving beyond simple improvements in cross-departmental communication. That blueprint is the Supply Chain Operations Reference Model, better known as SCOR, developed by the Association for Supply Chain Management. SCOR is a standardized set of end-to-end processes used to describe, analyze, measure, and improve how a supply chain operates. SCOR exists outside of software packages or rigid organizational charts. It functions as a reference model, a shared, universal language that bridges different departments, geographic regions, and external corporate partners. By standardizing the definitions of work and performance, SCOR moves an organization away from relying on subjective departmental opinions toward fact-based systemic decisions. To create that foundation, the SCOR model organizes all supply chain work into 6 core, standardized activity categories. This diagram illustrates the full structural overview of the SCOR framework. Notice the wide horizontal span. The model maps the flow of work from the supplier's supplier on the far left all the way to the customer's customer on the right. Governing this entire ecosystem are the plan activities. These processes balance demand and supply across the entire chain to ensure fulfillment is both profitable and reliable. Next is source. This covers the processes involved in obtaining the specific materials and services required to meet that planned demand. Then we have make. These are the internal transformation processes that convert those raw inputs into finished products. Once made, the product moves to deliver, fulfilling customer orders on time, while return manages the reverse flow of defective or recycled materials. A critical integration dynamic emerges here. Look exactly at where the entities connect. Your organization's internal deliver process acts directly as the input for your customer's source process. The chain is literally linked. In version 12 of the model, ASCM added a crucial 6th foundational activity, enable. The enable category acts as the critical support layer. It manages the data, IT systems, compliance rules, and talent required to keep the primary physical flows running. These 6 activities do not operate as distinct silos. Together, they form an interlocking, unbroken continuum of accountability. Understanding the physical process flow is only half the model. The true utility of SCOR lies in its methodology for performance measurement. Traditional metrics frequently fail because they reward localized efficiency, like maximizing machine utilization, rather than aligning with overarching corporate strategy. SCOR corrects this by defining 5 standard performance attributes: reliability, responsiveness, agility, cost, and asset management. This matrix table shows how the framework strictly links those broad strategic attributes directly to standardized Level 1 metrics. For example, if your strategic goal is dependability, you measure perfect order fulfillment. This is the precise tool used to quantify the attribute of reliability. Conversely, order fulfillment cycle time is strictly categorized as a measure of responsiveness. This structure exposes the reality of operational trade-offs. Improving performance in one attribute almost universally requires sacrificing performance in another. If leadership mandates aggressive optimization for responsiveness, meaning shorter lead times and faster shipping, that decision will drive up supply chain management cost. SCOR metrics do not allow for the illusion of perfection across the board. They force leadership to make explicit, mathematically measured strategic trade-offs. In the real world, the SCOR model is actively deployed as a rigorous diagnostic tool for root cause problem solving. Analysts use a structured drill-down approach. If a top-tier level 1 metric like reliability flashes a warning, they can trace that defect downward through the underlying level 2 and level 3 processes to isolate the exact point of failure. Because SCOR's definitions and metrics are universally standardized, companies can also perform true apples-to-apples benchmarking of their performance against industry peers. While often categorized as a logistics framework, SCOR governs the entire end-to-end operation. This comprehensive structure is a critical prerequisite for enterprise-wide digital transformation initiatives. Companies frequently invest in complex ERP systems or AI control towers, only to find the results fall short of the promised return. The reason is straightforward. Layering advanced technology over undefined, non-standardized processes merely results in automated chaos. SCOR provides the structural and data blueprint required to ensure technology aligns with the physical flow of goods. Let's review the core principles covered in this session. First, SCOR defines exactly what a supply chain does, its processes, completely independent of how the company is legally or organically structured. Second, the entire ecosystem is driven by 6 core activities: plan, source, make, deliver, return, and enable. And finally, the ultimate value proposition of the model is alignment. It enforces a strict mathematical connection between high-level business strategy, daily operational processes, and standardized KPIs. The SCOR model synchronizes competing departments into a single, measurable system.